The Roman Empire, a name that echoes through history. It speaks of legions, of emperors, and of a civilization that once spanned vast territories. But empires, even the greatest, are built upon foundations. For Rome, one such foundation was the Danube Limes. Imagine a frontier marked not by lines on a map, but by the course of a mighty river. This was the Danube, a natural barrier that would become a defining edge of Roman power. The Danube Limes wasn't just a river, it was a network of forts, watchtowers and roads, all meticulously crafted to hold back the tides of invasion. This formidable line stretched for hundreds of miles, a testament to Roman engineering and military might. To understand the Roman Empire, one must understand its frontiers. The Danube Limes reveals the challenges and triumphs of an empire striving to secure its borders. This was no easy task. The Danube region was a melting pot of cultures, a place where the Roman world collided with the tribes of Germania and beyond. The river itself, while a barrier, was also a point of contact, a place of trade and at times of conflict. The Romans, ever pragmatic, recognized the strategic importance of this waterway. They embarked on a centuries-long endeavor to fortify the Danube, transforming it into a bulwark against external threats. This is the story of the Danube Limes, focusing on its western segment. Stretching from the Roman province of Rhaetia to the borderlands of Pannonia, this section of the frontier witnessed pivotal moments in the empire's history. Here, legions faced off against Germanic warriors. Emperors launched campaigns that would shape Rome's destiny. The Roman way of life left a lasting impact on the landscape and its inhabitants. Our journey will take us to the banks of this mighty river. We will explore the remnants of imposing forts, walk the ramparts once patrolled by Roman soldiers, and delve into the lives of those who lived along this frontier. We will uncover stories etched into the stones of the limes, tales of conquest and resilience, and the enduring legacy of Rome. The western segment of the Danube Limes was more than just a boundary. It was a crucible where Roman military might was tested against nature and determined adversaries. It was a place of cultural exchange where Roman traditions intertwined with local customs. And it was a testament to the ambition and challenges of maintaining an empire on the edge of a vast world. Join us as we journey back in time to explore the Danube Limes, a place where the might of Rome met the wild beauty of the frontier. We will delve into the lives of the soldiers who guarded this distant border, the engineers who built its fortifications, and the people who called this rugged landscape home. The Danube River, a shimmering ribbon of silver. Long before Rome, it captivated many. Tribes thrived along its banks, drawn by its bounty. The Romans recognized its strategic value, a natural frontier and a gateway to new lands, offering untapped resources and potential wealth. Rome's initial interactions with the tribes along the Danube were a mix of diplomacy and military might. Trade routes were established, alliances forged, and, inevitably, conflicts erupted. The Roman war machine, a force to be reckoned with, made its presence felt along the river. Legions marched, their standards held high, a symbol of Roman authority and a harbinger of things to come. One of the earliest and most significant encounters occurred during the reign of Julius Caesar. His campaigns in Gaul brought him to the banks of the Rhine, a river closely linked to the Danube. Caesar's decisive victory over the Germanic tribes at the Battle of Alesia in 52 BC sent shockwaves through the region, demonstrating the might of the Roman legions and Caesar's own strategic brilliance. These early campaigns, while not directly focused on the Danube, had a profound impact on the region. They established Roman dominance in Gaul and paved the way for further expansion eastward. The tribes along the Danube, witnessing the fate of their neighbors to the west, became acutely aware of the growing Roman threat. However, the Romans were not content with simply projecting power from afar. They recognized the need for a more permanent presence along the Danube. a series of outposts that could serve as bases of operation and deter potential aggression. These early forts, often hastily constructed and vulnerable to attack, marked the beginning of Rome's long and arduous task of fortifying the Danube frontier. The reign of Emperor Claudius marked a turning point in Rome's relationship with the Danube. Ambitious and determined to leave his mark on the empire, Claudius set his sights on conquering the lands south of the Danube, incorporating them into the Roman fold. This expansion, driven by a desire for both security and glory, would have lasting consequences for the region. In a series of swift and decisive campaigns, Roman legions under Claudius's command marched eastward, subduing tribes and establishing their presence along the Danube. The legions, highly disciplined and brutally effective, proved more than a match for the often disorganized tribal forces. Victories were won, territories annexed, and the map of the Roman Empire redrawn. Claudius's conquest of the Danube region was not solely a military endeavor. He understood the importance of establishing a lasting peace, of integrating conquered peoples into the fabric of the empire. Roman engineers and administrators followed in the wake of the legions, constructing roads, bridges, and settlements that would connect this new frontier to the heart of the Roman world. The Danube, once a formidable barrier, was being transformed into a Roman waterway. Trade flourished, Roman law and customs were introduced, and the region began to take on a distinctly Roman character. The construction of the Danube Limes, a process that would span centuries, began in earnest under Claudius, laying the foundation for what would become one of the empire's most enduring frontiers. The Danube Limes was more than just a boundary. It was a dynamic frontier, marked by formidable forts. These were not simple outposts, they were carefully designed fortresses. Each fort represented the strength of Roman military power. Carnuntum, near modern-day Vienna, was one such stronghold. It was a thriving town with an amphitheater and bathhouses. Carnuntum protected a crucial crossing on the Danube. To the east was Aquincum, now beneath Budapest. It serves as a testament to the layers of history that shape our world. The forts of the Danube Limes were integral parts of a complex defensive network. The Danube Limes was not solely a landscape of stone and steel. Around the imposing forts, a vibrant tapestry of life unfolded. Garrison towns, some evolving into bustling cities, sprang up, fueled by the Roman military. Traders, artisans, and camp followers flocked to these frontier settlements, creating a unique blend of cultures. The rhythm of life in these towns revolved around the legions. Soldiers provided a steady stream of customers for taverns and merchants. The legions depended on these settlements for essential supplies and leisure activities. A symbiotic relationship developed, binding soldier and civilian in a shared existence. Section 3. The architectural language of power, design, and defense. The forts of the Danube Limes were more than just military installations. They were architectural statements, embodiments of Roman power and ingenuity. Constructed to withstand attack and project an aura of invincibility, these forts were designed according to a template honed over centuries of warfare. Adapted to the specific challenges of the Danube frontier, the classic Roman fort typically followed a rectangular layout, its perimeter defined by sturdy walls, punctuated by towers at regular intervals. These towers, strategically positioned to provide overlapping fields of fire, allowed defenders to rain down a hail of projectiles on any attackers. Gates, heavily fortified and often protected by additional towers, provided the only means of entry and exit. Within the fort's walls, life was highly regimented. Barracks housed the soldiers, their lives governed by the strict discipline of the Roman army. A central parade ground provided space for training and drills, ensuring the legions remained combat-ready. Storehouses held provisions, weapons, and equipment, while workshops provided for the maintenance of arms and armor. The Roman fort was a self-contained world, a microcosm of Roman order amidst the uncertainties of the frontier. The architectural language of these forts, with their imposing walls, soaring towers, and regimented layouts, spoke volumes about Roman power and their determination to hold this distant frontier. These were not temporary encampments, they were built to last, to withstand the test of time and the fury of any foe. The forts of the Danube Limes stood as enduring symbols of Rome's ambition, its organizational prowess, and its unwavering commitment to securing its borders, even in the face of formidable challenges. The backbone of the frontier. The fortifications of the Danube Limes were formidable, but it was the legions that brought them to life. These soldiers were the embodiment of Roman power, holding the line against threats. Their presence was a testament to Rome's authority. The legions were ever vigilant, constantly training and patrolling. Their lives were governed by strict discipline and relentless training. Daily drills sharpened their skills, ensuring they were always ready for combat. The legionaries hailed from all corners of the empire, united by their loyalty to Rome. They were more than warriors. They were also builders and engineers. Their lives were challenging, but they took pride in their service. The legions faced harsh weather and disease, yet they stood firm, showcasing the resilience of the Roman military. Section 2. Beyond the Walls. Patrols, watchtowers, and riverine defense. Roman defenses along the Danube Limes extended beyond the walls. The Romans adopted a multi-layered approach, incorporating patrols, watchtowers, and riverine forces. This strategy aimed to deter incursions and provide early warning. Regular patrols scouted the territory, gathering intelligence. These patrols served as the eyes and ears of the frontier. Their presence helped deter raids and maintain order. Watchtowers provided an elevated view and early warnings. Garrison towers signaled enemy approach using fire signals. This network allowed monitoring with few troops. The Danube River was key in Roman defensive strategy. Patrol boats intercepted smugglers and gathered intelligence. Riverine forces added another layer of defense. Section 3. The Art of War. Roman military tactics on the Danube. The Romans were renowned for their military prowess, honed through centuries of conflict. Their disciplined legions, advanced equipment, and strategic acumen were key to their success. On the Danube frontier, tactics were shaped by the challenging landscape and formidable foes. Dense forests and rolling hills necessitated adaptable strategies. Commanders employed maneuver, deception, and overwhelming force. Ambushes in wooded areas were a common and effective tactic. Troops would spring traps, unleashing javelins before engaging in close combat. Successful ambushes could significantly weaken enemy forces. In open terrain, infantry and cavalry tactics were integrated. Legions formed a shield wall, while cavalry targeted the flanks. Once enemy formations faltered, legions advanced decisively. Effective logistics and engineering were vital to their operations. Supply lines ensured a steady flow of food, water, and equipment. Fortified camps provided secure bases and refuge. Engineers constructed roads, bridges, and fortifications to facilitate rapid movement. The Romanization of the Danube. A Cultural Tapestry. The arrival of the Romans was a cultural earthquake. Roman culture reshaped the social fabric of the region. This transformation left an enduring legacy on the landscape and the people. Roman forts and settlements were focal points for cultural dissemination. Soldiers, merchants, and administrators influenced the indigenous populations. Temples dedicated to Roman gods rose alongside traditional shrines. The Romans understood the importance of integrating conquered peoples. They encouraged the adoption of Roman customs and language. This led to a hybrid culture along the Danube Limes. Urban centers grew along the Danube. Roman towns contrasted with indigenous settlements. these towns became centers of commerce and cultural exchange. Economic currents on the frontier. The Danube River transformed from a barrier into a bustling trade route. The establishment of the Danube Limes spurred economic integration with the Roman world. The demand for military supplies catalyzed economic expansion along the frontier. Farmers and merchants thrived by supplying the legions, boosting local economies. The river linked the Roman world to distant lands, facilitating extensive trade. A variety of goods traveled along the Danube, reaching forts and settlements. Raw materials flowed to markets within the empire, enriching the Roman economy. Section 3. Bridging the Divide. Romans and Locals. The relationship between the Roman conquerors and the indigenous populations along the Danube Limes was intricate and multifaceted. It was marked by both cooperation and conflict, as two distinct worlds collided along this frontier of empire. For the Romans, the local tribes represented both a potential threat and a valuable resource. They recognized the need to maintain a strong military presence to deter aggression and ensure the security of the frontier. However, they also understood the importance of cultivating alliances with local elites. Roman administrators often sought to integrate local leaders into the Roman administrative structure, granting them positions of authority. The indigenous populations, for their part, had to adapt to the new realities of Roman rule. Some tribes chose to cooperate with the Romans, hoping to benefit from the economic opportunities that Roman rule brought. Others resisted Roman authority, launching sporadic raids and uprisings. Despite the tensions, there was also cultural exchange and intermarriage between Romans and locals. Roman soldiers, stationed on the frontier, inevitably formed relationships with local women. These relationships, sometimes formalized through marriage, contributed to the blending of Roman and indigenous cultures. Section 1. The Unquiet Frontier. External Pressures and Invasions. The Danube Limes, despite its formidable defenses, was a zone of constant tension. As a frontier, it was a place where conflict was always a possibility. Across the river, tribes viewed Roman expansion with suspicion and hostility. The Romans had to continuously work to secure their borders and manage shifting alliances. Germanic tribes were a persistent threat to Roman control along the Danube. These tribes frequently launched raids, testing the strength of Roman defenses. Such raids could devastate local communities and expose the vulnerabilities in Roman rule. The emergence of the Goths in the late 2nd century AD made the situation even more precarious. This powerful Germanic confederation posed a new and significant challenge. The Goths raided deep into Roman territory, causing significant losses. Rome's response involved both military action and diplomatic efforts. Legions were deployed to repel these invasions and reassert control. Emperors often led campaigns to secure the frontier and project Roman power beyond the Danube. Section 2. Internal Struggles. Corruption, logistics, and the limits of power. The Roman Empire faced significant internal struggles that threatened its stability. Corruption and logistical difficulties strained the empire's resources. Corruption was rampant along the Danube frontier. Officials and commanders often prioritized personal gain over state interests. This eroded Roman authority and weakened governance. Maintaining the frontier required an extensive logistical network. Supplying legions with necessary provisions was crucial. Infrastructure like roads and granaries needed constant upkeep. The vast distances, challenging terrain, and enemy raids complicated these efforts. Logistical failures left forts exposed and compromised security. By the late 3rd century, internal issues made frontier maintenance increasingly difficult. Economic instability and political turmoil exacerbated these challenges. The empire was beset by internal divisions and external threats. The Danube Limes epitomized the challenges and limits of Roman power. Echoes of Rome on the Danube. The Roman Empire crumbled, leaving a legacy etched in stone and European society. The Danube, once a frontier, became a crossroads of cultures. Roman forts fell into disrepair, their stories fading into legend. Yet, the legacy of the Danube Limes endured. The Romanization left an indelible mark on the cultural landscape. Latin formed the basis for Romance languages in southern Europe. Roman law influenced legal systems across Europe. The river witnessed the movement of peoples and cultures. Ruins of Roman forts sparked imaginations of artists and historians. Today, the Danube Limes is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The river symbolizes unity and cooperation in modern Europe. The Danube Limes reminds us that empires rise and fall, but their influence endures.